The warning. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Confederation hummed with activity as representatives from over 200 starfaring civilizations gathered for an emergency session. The massive crystalline dome overhead reflected the light of 3 moons, casting prismatic patterns across the amphitheater where delegates sat in concentric circles according to their political influence. At the center of the hall, High Chancellor Vexnor of the Ilderan Collective activated a holographic display. A simple text message floated in the air, written in Standard Galactic. From Earth, UKNNOTSTOP Whiteways coming. Laughter rippled through the assembly. Earth, that backwater planet, barely a century into its interstellar infancy, daring to send such a cryptic warning to the Confederation that had ruled the spiral arm for millennia. Arrogance typical of humans, sneered Ambassador Kletch, his tentacles rippling with amusement. The Vorex were known for their long memory, and they had not forgotten how humans had outmaneuvered them in the Proxima trade disputes decades ago. Perhaps they finally developed a weapon they believe is significant, suggested Mirados of the Terran Republic, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with diplomatic caution. High Chancellor Vexnor silenced the assembly with a gesture. This message was broadcast on all Confederation channels simultaneously, bypassing our encryption protocols. This alone merits investigation. In the upper tier of the amphitheater, Admiral Xorlak of the Confederation Defense Fleet watched silently. Unlike his colleagues, he did not find humor in Earth's message. The veterans among his crew still spoke in hushed tones about the Battle of Titan, where Earth's primitive fleet had somehow managed to repel a Draxian invasion force 4 times its size. Earth has been silent for almost 15 years. Xorlak reminded the assembly. His golden scales caught the light as he stepped forward. No diplomatic contact, no trade, no passage through their system. Their ambassadors were recalled. Their colonies went autonomous. And now this. The High Chancellor's compound eyes narrowed. Your assessment, Admiral. I recommend caution, Xorlak replied. Earth's isolation may have served a purpose we cannot yet fathom. Ambassador Kletch made a dismissive gesture. The humans barely managed to terraform Mars. Their technology is primitive. This is clearly a bluff. Then a small reconnaissance force should suffice to determine their intentions, Xorlak countered. I volunteer to lead it personally. The Chancellor considered this, then nodded. Approved. Take 3 cruisers. Observe only. Do not engage unless provoked. As the assembly disbanded, Xorlak was approached by Mirados. The Terran's skin had shifted to a deep blue of concern. Admiral, my people's archives contain disturbing data regarding Earth's silence, she whispered. Their communication patterns changed before they withdrew. Their quantum transmission showed signatures we've never seen before. What are you suggesting, Ambassador? Only this. The humans may have encountered something during their early explorations, something they weren't ready to share with the Confederation. Xorlak considered her words as he prepared for the mission. 3 days later, his small fleet exited hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. Standard protocol demanded they announce their presence, but Xorlak ordered communication silence. Something about Earth's warning had unsettled him. Passive scans only, he ordered his crew. Let's see what the humans have been doing during their self-imposed exile. The results were puzzling. The outer planets showed signs of extensive mining operations, but no ships or stations were detected. Mars, once the pride of human terraforming, appeared abandoned, its domed cities dark. This makes no sense, muttered Xorlak's science officer. Trell, where have they gone? Our records show Earth had a population of 11 billion before isolation. Continue approach, Xorlak ordered. Take us closer to Earth. As they passed the asteroid belt, the first anomaly appeared. One of their escort ships, the Vigilant, disappeared from sensors. Contact lost with Vigilant, sir, reported the communications officer, her voice tight with alarm. Emergency protocols. Full scan. Xorlak commanded, but the sensors showed nothing. No debris, no energy discharge, No distress signal. The ship had simply vanished. It's as if it was never there, Trell whispered. Before Sorlak could respond, space itself seemed to ripple ahead of them. A massive structure phased into existence, a ring-shaped platform surrounding what appeared to be a tear in the fabric of space, with Earth visible through the distortion. Unknown configuration, Admiral, reported Trell. Energy readings off the scale. It appears to be some kind of artificial wormhole or spatial gateway. Impossible, Sorlak breathed. Human technology couldn't have advanced this far in just 15 years. The ship's communication system activated without command, and a human face appeared on the main view screen. The man wore a simple gray uniform with no insignia and regarded Sorlak with calm certainty. Admiral Sorlak of the Confederation, the human said. You received our message yet chose to ignore its implications. That was unwise. How do you know my name? Sorlak demanded. Identify yourself. I am Director Kane, Earth Defense Initiative. Your ship has been permitted to observe as a courtesy. Your missing vessel has been temporarily displaced. Its crew is unharmed. Displaced? What does that mean? What have you done with my ship? Director Kane's expression remained impassive. It exists in a parallel phase state, a precaution, nothing more. Sorlak's crew looked to him nervously. This technology was far beyond anything the Confederation possessed. You said we ignored the implications of your message, Sorlak said carefully. Explain yourself. What's coming that we cannot stop? For the first time, the human's composure faltered slightly. Not what, Admiral? Who? The view screen split to show a new image. A massive fleet of ships unlike any Sorlak had ever seen, dark and angular, moving through what appeared to be another galaxy entirely. We discovered them 15 years ago, Kane explained. An extragalactic species we call the Void. They've consumed 3 galaxies already, moving toward ours. Your Confederation ignored our initial reports, dismissed our evidence as fabrication. That's why Earth went silent. Sorlak realized. You've been preparing. Yes, we had to advance centuries within decades. When conventional physics failed us, we explored alternatives. The gates you see are our first line of defense, and our method of counterattack. As if to demonstrate, the ring structure began to pulse with energy. The spatial tear widened, and through it emerged an Earth vessel unlike any Sorlak had seen, sleek, massive, and bristling with technology that seemed to bend light around it. This is why we warned you, Admiral, Kane said. The Void will reach our galaxy within 5 years. The Confederation must prepare, or it will fall. You cannot stop what's coming. But with Earth's help, you might survive it. Before Sorlak could respond, sensors detected multiple spatial distortions throughout the system. Dozens of the massive ring structures were activating, and through each came more Earth ships, an armada that had been hidden from the Confederation's eyes. Return to your leaders, Admiral, Director Kane said. Tell them Earth stands ready. The question is, does the Confederation? With that, the communication ended, and the Vigilant reappeared beside Sorlak's ship, as his fleet retreated from Earth's solar system. Sorlak knew the Confederation would never be the same again. The humans hadn't been hiding. They had been evolving, preparing for a threat the Confederation had been too arrogant to see. And now, the galaxy's survival might depend on those they had dismissed. The Reckoning. 6 months after Admiral Sorlak's reconnaissance mission, the Grand Hall of the Galactic Confederation had been transformed into a war room. The ornate decorations and ceremonial artifacts had been replaced by tactical displays and communication arrays. Representatives from the member worlds huddled around holographic projections, showing the defensive preparations across the spiral arm. The Confederation Council had been skeptical of Sorlak's report at first. Many dismissed it as human deception, a ploy to gain influence. That changed when Earth provided direct evidence of the approaching Void fleet, quantum-entangled recordings showing the destruction of entire star systems in neighboring galaxies. Now, a joint Confederation Earth Defense Initiative had been established, though tensions remained high. Centuries of dismissing humans as primitive newcomers had left deep scars, and pride did not heal quickly. The outer defense perimeter will be ready within 3 months, reported General Thrix of the Asari Union, pointing to a network of monitoring stations along the galactic edge. But our analysts still don't understand how these void ships can travel between galaxies without using known hyperspace corridors. That's because they don't use hyperspace, said a calm voice from the entrance. Director Kane walked into the chamber, accompanied by Admiral Xorlak. The human leader looked even more austere in person than he had on the viewscreen months ago. Behind him followed a team of Earth scientists carrying data modules. They use what we call null space, Kane continued, activating one of the modules. A complex three-dimensional model appeared, showing layers of reality folded upon themselves. A dimension that exists parallel to our own, but operates under different physical laws. It's how they've been able to travel such vast distances without detection. Chancellor Vexnor rose from his seat at the head of the council. You expect us to believe that humanity, in just 15 years, mastered interdimensional physics that our civilizations haven't discovered in millennia? Kane's expression remained neutral. We didn't discover it. It found us. He nodded to one of his scientists, who activated another module. An image appeared of an Earth research vessel, encountering a strange distortion in space near Alpha Centauri. 15 years ago, the ESV Prometheus encountered a dying member of the Void Advanced Scout Force. Before it expired, we managed to extract some of its technology and biological material. What we found changed everything we understood about physics, biology, and the universe itself. Murmurs spread through the assembly as Kane continued. The Void aren't just invaders, they're harvesters. They don't just destroy civilizations, they consume them. Their technology, their knowledge, their very essence. Each galaxy they've taken has made them stronger, more adaptable. And you kept this to yourselves, accused Ambassador Kletch, tentacles writhing in anger. We tried to share our findings, Kane countered. Your scientists called it a hoax. Your military analysts called it fear-mongering. Your politicians called it a human grab for power. His voice remained even, but his eyes hardened. So we went silent. We diverted all resources to defense and research. We evacuated our colonies back to Sol system. We built the Gate network in secret, using the asteroid belt as raw material. Admiral Xorlak stepped forward. I've seen their preparations firsthand now. The Earth fleet is real, as is their technology. And more importantly, so is the threat. A new alarm suddenly blared through the chamber. The tactical display shifted to show a massive spatial distortion forming at the edge of the galaxy, far sooner than any projections had predicted. They're here, Kane said, his composure finally breaking. 3 years ahead of our calculations. Chaos erupted in the council chamber as representatives demanded immediate evacuations of their worlds. Chancellor Vexnor called for order, but panic had taken hold. Kane's voice cut through the noise. We don't have time for this. All eyes turned to him. Our long-range gates can transport your evacuation ships to safe zones we've established. Admiral Xorlak has the coordinates, but our combat gates need to be deployed immediately. Combat gates, repeated General Thrix. The same technology that allows us to create stable wormholes for transportation can be weaponized, Kane explained. We can open gates directly inside void ships or redirect their weapons fire back at them through spatial folding. On the tactical display, the first wave of void ships emerged from the spatial rift. Massive, angular vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Sensors estimated there were thousands in the first wave alone. How many ships can Earth deploy? Demanded the Chancellor. It's not about ships anymore, Kane replied. It's about changing the rules of engagement. At that moment, multiple new signatures appeared on the tactical display. Earth's defense fleet emerging from their own spatial gates throughout the sector, positioning themselves between the Void Armada and the inhabited worlds. "You still don't understand what's happening, do you?" Kane said, looking around the chamber. "This isn't a conventional war. The Void doesn't want territory or resources. They want everything, every scrap of knowledge, every technological advancement, every unique biological adaptation. They are the ultimate consumers, and our galaxy is just their next meal." The display showed the first engagement. Void weapons fire, strange, dark energy beams, lanced toward Earth vessels. But instead of impacting, the energy disappeared into small spatial rifts that opened moments before impact, only to emerge from other rifts directly in front of the Void ships. "This is the future of warfare," Kane continued. "Not bigger ships or stronger weapons, but control of space-time itself. We couldn't stop them with conventional means, so we changed the battlefield entirely." For hours, the Council watched as the Earth fleet engaged the Void forces. The humans didn't try to match the invaders' firepower. Instead, they manipulated the fabric of space around them. Void ships found themselves suddenly transported into the path of their allies' weapons. Others were split in half as microgates opened within their hulls. Some simply vanished, transported to empty regions of space millions of light years away. It was like nothing the Confederation had ever witnessed. Not a display of brute force, but of surgical precision and fundamental understanding of physics beyond current galactic science. "How?" whispered Chancellor Vexnor, watching the impossible battle unfold. "How did humanity advance so quickly?" "Necessity," Kane answered simply. "We knew no one would save us. The Confederation had already dismissed us, so we saved ourselves. And now, perhaps, all of you as well." As the first battle concluded with the Void forces in retreat, a new reality settled over the Galactic Confederation. The species they had considered primitive upstarts had become their only hope for survival. "Our message wasn't a threat," Kane said quietly to Admiral Thorlak as they watched the tactical displays. "It was a promise. We knew the Void was coming, and nothing could stop that. But we also knew that humanity wouldn't face extinction without a fight. That's what we meant. You cannot stop what's coming from humanity. Our evolution. Our determination." Thorlak nodded slowly. "I begin to understand why the humans of ancient Earth named their space vessels after Prometheus, the one who stole fire from the gods and gave it to mortals. We didn't steal this fire," Kane said. "We forged it ourselves, in the crucible of desperation." As the Council began organizing the galaxy-wide response to the Void invasion, one thing became abundantly clear. The age of Confederation dominance was over. A new era had begun, one where humanity would take its place not as a newcomer to be tolerated, but as the shield that stood between existence and oblivion. The final warning from Earth had not been a threat after all. It had been a promise of salvation.